Hi everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Hola a todos. Welcome back to my channel, c'est Jackie. Bienvenue à ma chaîne ou bienvenue à ma chaîne, c'est Jackie. Bienvenidos a mi canal, c'est Jackie. Today we are going to, well, not we, I am going to reintroduce myself and let you know a little bit about me. I realized that um, it's been a while since I started this channel, and I've gotten a lot of subscriber since the beginning of when I started, which was 2020. And there are several people who told me like they know me, but they don't know me, you know? And I was like, yeah, I don't know how much I've like shared about myself and my life on this channel. And so this is gonna be all about me. Oh my gosh, the snort. Gosh. And I'm back. All right. So let's introduce myself. Let me introduce myself one more time. Um, Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, CestJackie. My name is Jackie, Jacqueline, technically, though I go by Jackie. Everyone, including my own family, my parents called me Jackie and Gaki growing up, and so I go by that. If you're going to say my full name, because I'm Francophone, and it comes from my mother's sister, oldest sister. It's Jacqueline. So any other like iteration of that name doesn't like I don't answer to I do answer, obviously. If people call me Jacqueline or Jacqueline or whatever and they don't know, then I answer to it. But it's usually really jarring for me if people call me that because I'm not used to it. I'm used to Jackie. And then if not Jackie, Jacqueline. Um, oh gosh, I didn't prepare. Because I figured, I know myself. I know how to like talk about myself and introduce myself, right? Like this should be fun. This should be easy. That being said, I am going to, I guess, start from the jump, and then I'll talk about my channel and like why I decided to do this channel, to create this channel in the first place, et cetera, et cetera. So my name is Jack. I'm originally from Senegal. Senegal is a country in West Africa. I have this like rainy dandy African continent right here, in my necklace. And there's this little dot right there. And that is where Senegal is. I love having this because now when I introduce myself and say where I'm from, and people give me the blank eye, or I just know that they don't know, I just like do this and like, there, this country right here, that's where I'm from. And though many people think that I'm American, no, I was born in Senegal and spent the first 3 years of my life there before we moved over to the United States. Uh, we moved over because my dad worked for the International Monetary Fund, and yeah, and so because of his job, we moved around a lot growing up. And so technically, I've spent the most of my life at this point, counting my adult years, most of my life has been spent in the United States. But I grew up my formative years, my childhood and my teenagehood. I grew up bouncing between different countries because my dad worked for the African department. And so he had appointments of 3 years in different countries. And myself, part of his family, and my mom and my three other siblings, we moved around with him. And so I have had a very, very rich life where I've been privileged enough to have seen and lived in many different places in the world. And I'm super fortunate of that. Uh, why French? So Senegal was a French colony. And so I was in French institutions like the French International School for most of my childhood until 10th grade. I went to the French school. And then after 10th grade, I went to a boarding school. Um, God, I have so many stories oh, about my life in general, but boarding school was a really hard and very formative experience for me, like to make me the adult that I am. I feel like a lot of the foundation of my adulthood began in boarding school. And this was an American boarding school, okay? Majority white students and my boarding part, which was like the boarding constituted about 25% of the high school. And it was majority Asian, like the vast majority Asian, a few white students, mostly from the surrounding state. And then at the time when I joined, I was the only African student when I was there in the whole high school, let alone in the boarding school. And I was the only black student in the boarding school when I went. Um, the year after that, I think one black guy joined, yeah, and he was a part of the boarding part. But yeah, not a lot of black people. And in the high school itself too, like in my grade, I think there was only one other black student. So. I went to boarding school, yeah, in 10th grade. Finished that out, and then I went to undergrad in Canada, Canada. Oh, Canada. I love the Canadian national anthem. It's so beautiful. If you haven't heard it, I highly recommend you hear it. But I went there, and a lot of people ask me, like, oh, why did you decide to go to Canada? I went to British Columbia. Did you know the place? Did you have family there? Did you know the school? And it's a pretty wild story. Um, I I had really good grade. I had a really great GPA and my SAT scores were good. Not great, but they were very good. And so, and I was a varsity athlete in high school. I did mock trial. I I had lots of activities and things under my belt. And so I was receiving in this country, um, being a person of color, of the global majority, I was I received a ton of mail from universities all over the US and Canada. Um, and I think I was so overwhelmed by all of the mail, like I didn't really open it. And because of like logistical things in terms of schooling, I knew that I was going to be going most likely to Canada. But I decided I would apply to some American schools in case they give me a great scholarship. Like one university in Minnesota, St. Kate's, an all-women's university, gave me an extremely good scholarship to go to the school. And so it was something that I had definitely um, decided to keep into consideration. But several universities invited me for like, those informational like dinners where they like wine and dine you and like basically they sell you on their school so that you can apply. So I went to think I only went to two, maybe. And one of them happened to be for the school that I decided to go to in British Columbia. And I met all the wonderful people. I met some prospective students, and I just had a wonderful time. Emotions, man, that's how they get you. So when they were like, apply, I was like, yes, absolutely. Um, and yet I didn't apply to a lot of the Ivy League schools that were also offering me, get-togethers, but c'est la vie, c'est la vie. I regret nothing. It was for some of the best 4 years, not the best, but some of the best 4 years of my life occurred in undergrad, and I absolutely loved my experience. Um, the university has come under fire for a lot of things in recent years, but for the most part, yeah, I'm so thankful for my experience. I absolutely loved it. So I spent 4 years there. My degrees were, I did a double major. I know I'm an overachiever. Psychology was my first major, and then I did modern languages. And for modern languages, I basically had two minors, one in French, one in Spanish. And I took a ton of theater classes, um, acting classes. They were all acting classes. Uh, and that's where actually I really developed my passion for acting was undergrad. And I have lots of stories about that I'll talk about on another day, have like chapters or something. But I stayed there for 4 years. I wanted to stay there longer, to be honest. I wanted to do a fifth year, but I couldn't justify that. I had already done two whole majors in 4 years, and my parents thought, I should come back to the US to get a job and get some experience before law school, because that was the plan from high school. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to go to law school. Um, talk about that too another day. So I went to, yeah, undergrad in Canada, came back to the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. After that, got a job, worked at a law firm, then for a language company, then finally went to law school. And now I'm a teacher slash artist. I teach French, English, Spanish, negotiations, acting, and sometimes mediation. And I work as an artist, mostly mainly as an actor and also as a director or assistant director. Those are uh, the creative outlets I'm usually fall under. I am also a playwright. I do write, and I have had some of my works done on Zoom as well as live in theaters all over the US. And that is me. Yes. So I've traveled to, at this point, I've stopped counting, but I should probably start counting again just to know which ones I've hit. I know which countries I've been to and which countries I still want to go to that I haven't been to, but I've been to almost, I would say, about 30 some countries in my life, and I cannot wait to visit more countries. Actually, that's a big conundrum as an adult when traveling is I always have to weigh between going to the countries where I have friends and family and I love, 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 love these countries and want to go all the time versus exploring a new country, a new culture, and just having new experiences because I love this world. This world is beautiful. And you don't have to travel outside of your neighborhood, your city, your state in order to see the beauty of this world and the beauty of its people. You don't. Okay? That being said, my life has only been enriched by traveling the world and by having access and experiences with different cultures and different people. And it's really, really, really reaffirmed my belief that we are all the same. We're all similar. It doesn't matter how different we are. At the end of the day, we all seek the same things deep down, the really important things, which is to be seen, to be heard, to be loved. And it doesn't matter, again, how incredibly differing the culture is. Those three things are things that we all need and we all want to be seen, to be heard, to be loved. And one of my, greatest achievements I feel in life has been to make others realize the same exact thing, that though I may be a different, skin color, I may come from a different cultural background or background period. I have obviously different experiences from other people. We still have so much in common and so much to connect to. And I think that is so, 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 so beautiful. Um, oh, this thing I generally talk about, but I didn't this time in this video is that I'm a third culture kid, TCK. Some people know the terms, others, many don't. TCK, third culture kid. I learned about this term in undergrad actually. And what it means is that I don't, it's not even that I don't identify, it's that I don't belong or act within one culture. Most people are born in a country and live there most of their lives and identify as that country's culture. So if you were born in Kenya, right, you feel you're Kenyan, and you've lived there most of your life. If you were born in Singapore and lived there most of your life, you identify as Singaporean. If you were born in, Colombia and lived there most of your life, you identify as Colombian. Because I moved around so much, I identify as Senegalese. Senegalese, I did grow up with the Senegalese community around me for a lot of my childhood. As American, I am a citizen of the United States. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, I've lived the longest in the United States. Um, so I am partly Senegalese, partly American, and then I have a mix of attributes and things from other cultures that I've picked up when either living there or traveling there. That is a part of my identity. So I'm this third culture, which is a mix of American, Senegalese, and others. And it's always funny because my parents, well, now my dad, um, always says, like, oh, that's so American when I do certain things or say some things. And then other days he's like, that's very Senegalese, or that's very French, or that's very insert culture here. And that's me. Um, for those of you who've like followed my channel, you already know that I've unfortunately had one parent pass away. My mother passed away last year. And so it is now my father and my siblings and myself. We're here. And why did I start this channel? I started this channel in 2020, actually, when the pandemic hit, when things started to become serious and shut down here in the US. Everything shut down in March of 2020 here in the US, and everything slowed down. I started working online virtually, teaching, and I used YouTube as a guide as a supplement for my language classes, my French, English, and Spanish classes. And I saw so many holes. I was like, "Ugh, I really need a video on this type of grammar, or I really need a video on this vocabulary, or this, or that, or this." And I couldn't find it. I know, of all places, YouTube is so huge. I thought, you could find anything, and I couldn't find these specific things. And so I decided, okay, now that the world has shut down and I actually have the time to think about what content, what videos I need for my classes to supplement them, let's do it. So I did. And I started with my French videos, uh, because the most classes I was giving were French classes. Alors j'ai décidé de vraiment euh, penser, de commencer du début et après de continuer. Des débutants pour aider les débutants et après chaque niveau plus avancé, plus avancé. And I was also teaching Spanish classes and English classes. So I decided to incorporate that. And as time went on, I decided, oh, well, I became more and more enmeshed within the YouTube world and culture. And I really loved watching other people's videos, watching their channels. And yes, I could have, created more channels and different channels and such, but I decided I don't want to have different, and it would have been better for me to have different channels for each thing that I'm interested in and good in and all of that. But um, instead, I was like, well, I could just have a channel be about me and have like, all of the different parts of me. So I started doing virtual theater, and that became a very important and strong part of my channel. I started doing reviews of like places I've been, things I've eaten, etc. Then movie reviews this year. I've been going into that because uh, my dad and I, during the pandemic, watched a movie a night for a majority of the pandemic. I know, wild. And a lot of my friends were like, you should tell us what is worth watching and what is not worth watching. And I was like, I don't have the time, but I've made the time, especially to review movies that are out in the movie theaters and that I watch with my brother or with my friends. And this is my channel now, CestJackie. And CestJackie, if you don't know French, it's literally this is Jackie in French. Um, and that's where that name comes from. Excellent. I've talked a lot. Hopefully, you feel like you know me a little better. I will continue this series of Get to Know Me. Um, and yeah, and talk about my life and my experiences and tell some stories because I think it's so important to document. Humans are so fascinating and have such a rich life that should be shared, to be honest, with others. I'm a big, huge proponent of that, to be honest. And I would love to make sure that I share those things not only for myself, but for you, my friends, um, for the world, and for my family to be. So that it's something that, you know, will be shared. I always think about that song from Hamilton. History has its eyes on you. What is your legacy? And my legacy is my story. All right. If you want to know anything in particular, please feel free to put it in the chat below. Um, please feel free to interact with me. Please do interact with me. I love getting your comments and questions and thoughts. And I look forward to you getting to know me better and hopefully for me getting to know you better. I love getting to know people and humans. Y'all make life worth living and y'all make this This life on earth is so rich. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much for listening. Muchísimas gracias. Y hasta pronto. A bientôt. See you soon.